Uncle Doug.
Uncle Mark.
I find that the best medical treatments available are the least examined. Don't you think?
That is a tenet of modern medicine.
Like, who cares about these eggheads and PhDs and blah, blah, blah?
I mean, I
want results.
I think Hippocrates was the first who said, enough with the science already, just fix him.
Just get to the bloodletting.
Yeah, so I wonder, Uncle Dan, if you know of some remedy for my humors.
Oh, I can cure what ails you.
Yeah?
That's for sure.
All right.
But I want to start with a personal anecdote,
Okay.
if I may. I was in rehearsal for a play, and one of the other actors was asking everyone if they knew a good massage therapist for an injury. And several people mentioned a friend of all of ours who is a fellow theater artist as well. Let's call him Omar, who, by most accounts, is actually quite excellent at that sort of thing. He's a massage therapist, and he just really good for injury stuff.
Yeah.
That's all well and good. And then one of the people glowingly recommending Omar said this phrase: "He's a healer." Now
that is an Australian dog.
That's right.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right. They're beautiful. They're wonderful. Very
And
smart.
Omar is, and he will come when called. It is
Right.
good. No,
he works well with sheep.
Yes, indeed. Look, I have no reason to doubt that Omar is very good at what he does. I have 100% believe that he has made several of my close friends feel significantly improved in their various ailments. But that phrase, "he's a healer,"
Yeah.
just stuck in my craw.
Yeah.
Now, why is that?
Did it give you a huge knot in your back?
It did. It did. I needed to go to this other guy to
That's pretty
work it
ironic.
out. It feels like that. So why is that phrase such a gross phrase? He's a healer.
Because it's just all wound up in woo.
It's wound up in woo.
Yeah.
It means more than just he can make you feel better. It means there's something mystical or
Right.
spiritual.
He knows how to Tetris your chakras back into the right
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And also
form
because
of an anteater.
you would never apply that phrase to a doctor.
Right.
Who
Yeah.
actually does heal you.
A doctor is someone who works on your health.
Yeah.
But a healer
Yeah.
is someone who it's magic. A healer has magic.
Yeah.
And magic, gentlemen, and I don't spoiler alert, I should have saved this for the end, is bullshit. There is no magic.
Well, where did my grandpa get that quarter from then?
That was in your nose the whole time.
No, it was in my butt. I'm saying it was in my
Wow.
butt.
Grandpa.
Yeah.
I thought it was the grandpa on the
I
other
missed him
side.
when he went to jail.
Your revenue streamed right up.
Anyway. Oh my God.
There goes my bus fare. I couldn't afford to take the bus to jail to see him.
Oh, that bus driver hated getting those quarters from you, though. Why is
It's
it
like that
brown?
Christmas movie where she cuts her hair and sells the watch fob and just,
All the things.
everybody loses.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a healer.
Yeah.
In the worst sense of that word. We're going to Brazil to talk of John of God.
John of God.
John of God. This
Humble
is
moniker.
João de Deus
Yeah.
in his original Portuguese, which I assume I pronounced perfectly.
Perfectly.
He is a healer in the creepiest, cheesiest, wooiest sense of the word. Thousands of genuinely afflicted people from all over Brazil and the world,
The world, right?
flock to his little compound daily.
He's like in the middle of nowhere, right? He's kind of
The middle of fucking nowhere, Brazil, about 170 miles away from Brasilia, the capital.
right.
He's still going now.
And Brasilia is kind of in the middle of nowhere. But,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just like nothing. And he's got a huge, the whole town, it's a company town. It is just his giant compound filled with people all dressed solely in white, which is the dress code.
Yeah.
And then like 8 cows and a field.
Even after Labor Day.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
Someone should tell him.
Yeah, and there is a at least a veneer in the clothing and stuff of doctorness, right?
Well, with him, I mean, actually, from what I've seen, sometimes he wears something that's vaguely like doctory,
a lab coat kind of
but
thing.
But often it's just, it's just white on white. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just like, it'll just be a very casual button-down short-sleeve shirt.
It's a hot country. You want a breathable fabric.
You need it. You need it. A linen.
Because being a cult leader, it sounds like a lot of fun, but Lord, it's a lot of paperwork.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'll get to it, but make sure that I don't skip describing him ministering to the people.
Oh yeah.
But I do want to talk a little bit first about what he grew up out of.
Okay.
Which is the sort of the religious landscape of Brazil, which is a little bit confusing. Obviously, you had the Brazilian natives, you had the South American natives who were there, and then the Portuguese came in,
and everything was fine.
Mm-hmm. All of that worked out great.
Everybody got along great.
Everybody, yes, that part we don't even need to talk about. Perfectly good. But the Portuguese brought with them Catholicism, so the main religion has always been Catholicism.
Yeah,
but they never had enough priests for the longest time. So their Catholicism got folksied up a lot.
Yeah.
And so
their Catholicism went to Carnival.
Right. Yeah. And so their Catholicism has a huge emphasis on saints.
Thongs?
No, only that 1 week and a half. Saints are worshipped, basically. They're more than they're deified in a way that
right.
sort of it modifies the religion quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Catholicism's already basically polytheism.
Right, yes.
But in Brazil, it is straight up polytheism.
And there's a lot of woo that comes with that. Add to that, there was a huge African contingent that came in and
that were invited.
That were cordially requested.
They saw the brochures
to join.
Well, it looks beautiful there.
Yeah, they came. So there's this African Brazilian Umbanda and Candomblé faith. These two different faiths that sort of permeate, that have that sort of African folk religion feel to them, and Spiritism. Not spiritualism like we have here in the United States, the classy version. Mm-hmm. Spiritism, which is the same thing, only it came to Brazil sort of via France, and it had this sort of weird like bing bong boom thing. But yes, the idea that people, the dead, talk to the living through mediums, that sort of thing.
So basically, religion in Brazil is like everything else in Brazil. It's kind of their own thing.
It's their own thing. Yeah. It's a mishmash, and nobody from outside of there can make head or tail out of it. Anyway, from these weird origins comes a young man who had 2 years of formal education in his whole life.
Right.
Just 2 years.
Well, it's not quantity, it's quality, Dan.
And that wasn't there either.
Great.
Because he grew up in a tiny little village. So this guy, but don't worry. If you're worried about a man with almost no education to speak of performing medical acts, do not worry.
Sure.
Because he channels the entities.
Right.
And the entities include people like famous Brazilian doctor Oswaldo Cruz, Saint Ignatius, King Solomon, Saint Rita.
King Solomon's vast knowledge of the endocrine system.
Yeah, the only prescription we know from King Solomon wasn't a great one.
Oh.
Yeah, well, every now and then if you got to split a baby, you split a baby.
Yeah. Oh, you've got typhoid. You'd be better in halves.
So what happens is these people, he doesn't now, his version is what's known as unconscious channeling. I think that's what it's called, which means that these people don't just talk through him, they take over.
So does he kind of a trance-like thing, or
theoretically, although it looks like at this point he's kind of given up on the theatrics entirely. It's sad these days, and I'll get to that.
It's like late stage Elvis.
Oh my
Not even
God.
really trying anymore.
Oh my God. So much like that.
Well, a little like PZ Myers and Ramtha, right? Where she just gets drunk and yells at everybody in the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Now he performed. Now a lot of his stuff is done through meditation. He has people in meditation rooms that he calls current rooms, where the current of their meditation, the vibration builds up in a current, like an electrical current.
Right, because that's real.
Because that's all that makes a sense.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
And that helps everybody. It magnifies all of the power that the entities have.
Well, they ran out of diesel for the generator, so they got to develop.
I feel like it should have sound effects. Apparently, some of the meditators do make like real spooky hissing sounds and stuff.
Well, got to put on some theatrics for the
Yeah,
the
put on a
audience.
show.
Something anyway. Then the other thing that he'll often do is prescribe you a set of pills that he produces. They are all just passion flower extract, which, by the way, I looked up passion flower. It's a really cool looking flower. But everybody gets the same pills. You have to have a prescription from him, but everybody gets the same pills. But the idea is that when you get your pills, don't give them to anyone else, because the entities have imbued your bottle of pills
With exactly what you need.
For your ailment.
Right.
And if so if I gave you, Doug, my pills,
Right.
it wouldn't clear up that thing down there at all.
Right.
Because my thing is for,
Can I give it a shot? I really need help.
Yeah, you probably should.
So when you go to the pharmacy after he prescribes you, is it still the same process of like waiting half an hour while they fill your prescription?
Oh, everything there is waiting.
Yeah.
Everything there is waiting. But no, that one actually, because everyone gets the same pills, you just hand money over and they just give you a bottle from the one box of pills that they've got. And then also you can buy blessed water and various artifacts that have been blessed by the entities.
Right.
So
Daddy's got to eat.
These will all fix you.
Yeah.
But the big deal, the big tent attraction is John of God himself, and he has some amazing tricks. Whenever you see pictures of him, he's always got something up somebody's nose. And
I know. I've seen the film of this, and it is ghastly.
This is how he convinces, like his stuff. So, imagine, if you will, a scissor-looking thing. It's a set of forceps.
I want to leave.
It's about 7 inches long.
Oh my God.
And he starts squirreling around. He takes a little bit of gauze on the end of it, and he starts squirreling around, and then in somebody's nose. And then suddenly, up to the handle, all the way up into that person's nose.
Yeah.
Now, it's an alarming thing to see.
Yes.
I will admit. However, it is not surgery. You'll be shocked to learn. It is not. This is what he calls surgery, by the way.
Okay.
And the gauze often comes out bloody.
Oh,
Which,
fuck.
Well, yeah.
yeah.
You cram a pincer
your
of gauze
sinuses.
7 inches into anyone's body, you're going to get blood.
Well, as you know, the inside of your nasal cavity is the membranes are quite thin, so
Yeah.
you can easily scrape it and get some blood. Here's the thing: what he's doing is an old sideshow trick.
Right.
If you've ever been to a circus
Because
sideshow,
you actually
or whatever,
do have a very deep sinus cavity.
right. There is a hole that goes way back in there if you find it, and you're not going to hurt the brain because the brain's actually like surrounded by bone.
Unless you keep it going.
No, well, you'd need a drill because
Sure.
there's bone.
Right.
But it's
Or a running start.
it had been done in India for a long time as a trick, and now you'll see somebody with a big old 4-inch long nail that they'll pretend to hammer into their face or whatever. Like
I just make a recommendation to our listeners: do not Google image this.
yeah, and don't do it. Don't try it at home.
Also
that would be a stupid thing to do, but it's relatively safe. And it's one of his big convincing tricks.
Right.
Other tricks include scraping the eyeball with a blade.
Oh, my God.
Without anesthetic, and cutting, sort of superficially cutting skin with a scalpel without anesthetic. Now, they always claim that people don't feel a thing or whatever, but I actually saw a video of him cutting a guy with a scalpel, and the guy is doing his damnedest not to feel a thing.
To be brave.
But is squirming like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's very clearly feeling it.
Right.
Anyway,
I remember I saw some footage of this years ago, and I remember him taking some instrument and going to the base of a woman's neck on her back and making an incision by her spine.
Yep.
And then just jamming this thing down into that incision into her back, and and no anesthetic. No, it wasn't. He just picked up this thing, this rod or whatever, out of someone was carrying a bucket next to him. He just pulled out of a bucket of water and just jammed it down into her neck. And I nearly fainted seeing that.
He's
on television.
He does crazy things. It's basically all parlor tricks, and these people will need real medical attention later. Type
Of course.
stuff.
Right.
Although, if you ask them, that has never happened.
Sure.
There has never been a person who's needed alternate medicine or real medicine after his thing. Anyway, he does all of these things. That's the rarer thing. Let me explain to you the most common experience of someone who's going to him for help. First, you show up at his compound, having traveled hundreds, possibly thousands of miles to see him.
Yeah.
You wait in line for hours to see him. And I saw a video of him, and these are people who have real maladies.
Yeah.
And
they're here because either whatever system they should have been in for healthcare failed, or they can't afford it,
They're desperate.
or
Right.
there isn't a system.
Right. So I mean, a lot of the people who come from outside of Brazil come because they went to their doctors. Their doctors said, "Your cancer, I'm sorry, it's inoperable," and sent them home to die. So yes, they're desperate. They'll try anything.
Right.
They're willing to go to go to some magic dude and just see what happens, because what have they got to lose other than their family's inheritance? So they show up there. They are desperate to see this guy. Now, he's been doing this since the 70s, and you cannot imagine a more bored-looking human on the earth. He's
so done with it.
Slouched in his chair, dead-eyed to the world, and each of the people are coming up wanting to touch him because they believe he is going to cure their lymphoma or whatever.
Yeah.
And they reach out their hands with this expectant look on their face, and he just sort of touches their hand, and then they shuffle off, and then he touches the next guy's hand, and then they shuffle off. Or conversely, at other times, he'll scribble something on a piece of paper and hand it to them, and he'll scribble something, and that turns out to be their prescription for the bullshit pills.
Right.
That's why he has to write a prescription. He can't just write a number.
He doesn't even
all the
write. He
same
doesn't
pill.
write anything. He just scribbles. He just writes a little scribble that's illegible.
Do they tell him what their malady is, or is he supposed to just intuit it?
Apparently, I think they do.
Yeah.
He's clearly not listening.
Right.
And then, then you're scurried off into another room where you do your meditating for hours. Don't cross your arms or legs.
With an insane nosebleed.
Right. Well, no. You haven't had that yet.
Oh, okay.
All you've done is just waited in line for hours to touch the man's hand.
Yeah.
And then you're shuffled out. Then maybe later, then you get your pills, then you get your water, whatever. And then maybe later you'll be asked if you want surgery. And you'll say yes, because you need to have your thing fixed. The vast majority of the surgery that happens is what is called invisible surgery. And this is when you go into a room and you sit quietly in that room with hundreds of other people, and the entities surgery you as you sit there without your knowing about it.
That is the best kind of surgery as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, absolutely.
I've been in this waiting room for hours. When do I go into surgery? You're all done.
It just happened. And you're fixed.
I love it.
And voila, you are fixed.
Yeah.
So great, go home. And they actually tell you to be careful and to sleep it off, and to like also you're just act as though there are sutures that could be popped if you can't run or whatever.
Oh my God.
So anyway, there's that. And then people stay at the compound for days, and they meditate, and they keep coming back, and they keep meeting, they'll stand in line again to meet this guy. This guy's whole job at this point is to sit down on this wooden throne while people touch him, and then go and perform 5 or 6 of these stunts a day. Because he doesn't do it to everybody. He does the stunts he does just as a sort of demonstration, like you've been picked
So you
out.
may have come from Sweden,
Yeah.
and you go to the middle of the jungle, and you wait for hours for this, days for this guy, and the vast majority of people don't get the sinus swabbing.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Which is good. I approve of them
Yes.
not being abused
The
in that
fewer
way.
people that happens to, the better. But still, if you paid for a ticket,
Yeah. Anyway, so God, and he's got this weird God thing. He's claims he's still Catholic. The Catholic Church has disavowed him. His quote is, "I do not cure anybody." And if we stopped there, I think he'd be in a good spot.
right?
But he goes on to say, God heals, and in his infinite goodness permits the entities to heal and console my brothers. I am merely an instrument in God's divine hands.
Exactly what Benny Hinn says.
Exactly what everybody
Yeah.
says.
I'm just a messenger.
Yes.
I'm the vessel through which God works.
I'll take your money, but I'm not really doing the work.
Right. How did he become famous? Well, he became famous in his own place, but the rest of the world found out about him through, any guesses?
Oprah.
Oprah fucking Winfrey.
I was joking.
No, for real.
Oh,
That's absolutely how it happened.
Yeah.
Well, he probably became famous before that, but
he's famous in Brazil for sure, I imagine.
and around the way that Oprah even found out about him was one of her writers wrote about him in the O magazine. And then that was featured on her show in 2010. And then again in 2013, this time she went herself to Brazil, Oprah herself, and interviewed him. So,
and like she does with all of these quacks, she probably just believed him 100%.
yeah, she's a credulous simpleton. So
I know, for an insanely intelligent person,
yeah,
she is so credulous. It
Yeah.
is baffling.
it is. Anyway, fun little side note, in 2015, John of God himself was diagnosed with aggressive stomach cancer.
Ah.
Guess how he treated it? Any guesses?
A long proboscis into his nasal passage.
Yes, that's exactly right.
That, and he
except
went to Sloan Kettering Cancer Center.
he absolutely went to conventional medicine, had his tumor extracted, and did 5 months of chemotherapy.
Yeah.
So, yes, apparently the entities don't work for him. They work through him, not for him.
Just like Mother Teresa letting people die of bone cancer untreated, unanesthetized in her warehouses.
That's right.
And then going to the finest clinics in the world, first class for her heart.
Yeah.
We're all shocked to learn all of these
Yeah,
things.
can you believe it?
Yeah, and another shocking thing, which you guys definitely will find very, very difficult to believe. You will not be able to handle this information.
Lay it on me, baby.
In December of last year, he was arrested.
Oh, no.
Not for fraudulent, not for defrauding literally millions of people
And harming people.
and doing who knows countless amounts of amount of harm.
Yeah.
But no, because a group of 10 Brazilian women accused him of sexual abuse.
Oh, God.
Now, this was...
Whoa. We're talking about cult leaders here. This is not a thing.
You would think that
This
that
is
would be
not
impossible.
a thing that happens. Yes.
There had been rumblings of other accusations before, but this
The
took
reason
off...
I say it doesn't happen is because they're grown people.
Right.
They're adults.
Right. You'd
Right.
think, well, let me get there. So finally, a Brazilian journalist actually looked into it, brought forth 10 very credible women. The guy was arrested. Then that journalist set up an email address specifically for this to say, if anybody else experienced this,
Oh, my God.
you can email me. As of the last reading of the Religion News Service report on it, more than 600 women
Oh, my God.
had accused him, varying in ages from 8 to 67,
8?
Oh, my God.
including his own daughter,
Oh, my God.
who accused him of raping and assaulting her
Oh, my God.
for years until she ran away at age 14.
Jesus.
So,
Has Oprah been back?
He ticks. Oprah summarily removed that in those bits from her website.
Yeah.
they don't.
Sometimes you can do research before you decide to sell a person as a commodity, right? You can
that takes effort.
yeah.
God.
And you know what? That's an effort that a lot of American journalists weren't willing to do. There was coverage on other, like, journalistic shows that literally gave him a pass. It was funny. There was an ABC News report in 2005 that actually had on. So they went and covered him. They had Dr. Oz and James Randi on. Now, James Randi has thoroughly debunked this guy. He's the debunker.
Yeah.
His screen time was cut down to about 20 seconds.
What?
And they didn't.
And it was Dr. Oz.
And Dr.
And
Oz.
Dr. Oz probably said one secret to losing weight is
Right.
dying
Is
because
passion
this guy
flower
treated you.
pills.
Dr. Oz said, buy my passion flower pills.
Right, yeah, exactly. This was before Dr. Oz was a big deal, but like it's still crazy. Yeah. So like, and they also like they promoted all of Dr. Oz's accomplishments and achievements before they introduced him. Said basically nothing about James Randi except that he had written a book.
Oh my
So it
God.
was like it was a very big. It was funny how they gave him a pass.
Yeah.
It was ABC News. They gave him a total pass. It was primetime live.
Yeah.
And they just gave him a pass. Then Oprah Winfrey. But in 2014, 60 Minutes Australia did a really scathing sort of thing because he was coming into Australia. There was a planned tour.
Is it still called 60 Minutes or is it called Crikey?
It's called 60 Minutes. That was
60 Wadangalangas.
Anywho, so yeah, now he'll hopefully be healing people in jail.
Yeah, so yeah, is he still at large or is
No, he is in custody now, awaiting trial.
Excellent.
I think. And,
Good.
to sit in Brazil, I guess raping 600 women is one too many, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, you get there eventually.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned 60 Minutes Australia, and when I've done some of these quacks, some of these faith healers, etc., there's always a 60 Minutes Australia piece because I think they have a whole different sensitivity to religion than in America, where you can never fucking criticize it or say anything about it.
Right.
Where in Australia, it's like, yeah, Benny Hinn's a fucking quack.
Yeah. So there you go, John of God. He's good for what ails you. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. So
May he rot.
I'm feeling better already.
Yes, indeed.
It worked. Let's move on.